Alright, so the aim of this video is to give you a guide for preparing and constructing an essay for the Distinctively Visual unit. The prescribed text that we've been doing has been the Shoehorn Sonata, and you have all chosen a related text and you've completed your deconstruction of that related text for your most recent assessment task. So let's get into it. So we'll begin by talking about what we've done in the Distinctively Visual Elective and just a few key understandings that you need to get and that you'll need to demonstrate in the essay task. So the first thing is that distinctively visuals in text are created by techniques. We've been looking at a drama text and we've had a whole range of dramatic techniques as well as some usual language techniques that have come out through the dialogue that we've been exploring. So the composer selects these techniques to create visuals for the reader to see or imagine. After that, once we've analysed and been able to find the distinctive visuals, we've understood that they're powerful tools for fostering empathy and reshaping people's perceptions. This has been our big idea for the unit, that distinctive visuals are really great at being able to draw sympathy and empathy from the readers, from the viewers, and then to reshape their understanding of particular ideas, or in our case, we've been looking at themes within the play. Now, the main themes within the text that we've studied, for example, Shoehorn Sonata, and the ideas about those themes have been primarily communicated to us through visuals. And the same thing with the related text that you've chosen for the assessment task. Each of you have chosen related texts that have used visuals in a way that foster that empathy and reshape your opinions and perceptions of those ideas and themes. So in the essay task, this is basically what we're aiming to do. First of all, we're showing a knowledge of the language forms and features of the text that we've studied. So what I mean by this is the major techniques, the structure, the dramatic features, and key scenes within the text. We're looking to show our knowledge of the visuals. So these language forms and features are creating visuals, things that we can see or imagine within the text, which is then shaping the meaning from the text, which is what we understand from the text. And finally, this meaning is affecting our understanding. So in this case, it's our understanding of some of the themes and the key ideas. Now, in order to get a better idea of what we have to do in an essay task, I thought it would be really good to look at some of the past questions from the HSC exam. So I've got the last 5 exam questions here. Well, I've got the first 3. You'll see that there's common features between all the questions. That is that all the questions ask us for the distinctive images or the distinctive visuals from the text, and they're always connected to something to do with themes or ideas. And that's why we've been studying it through the lens of themes and ideas. The 2015 question says this: distinctive images offer a variety of perspectives on the world. Compare how this is achieved in your prescribed text and one other related text of your own choosing. Here in red, we've obviously got the distinctive images, so that's the key evidence that we are required to show, and we have to talk about them through how they offer a variety of perspectives on the world. Now for us, this may be a perspective on friendship, or a perspective on war, or a perspective on reconciliation. The same is true in 2014, where we've got how do the qualities of distinctive images create interest and draw us into the experiences of others. The key 2 parts of this question is how do they basically catch our attention, so create interest, and draw us into the experience of others, so the experiences of Bridie and Sheila's friendship, the experience of their relationship, of them reconciling their relationship, and also their experiences of being in a prisoner of war camp. I basically said exactly the same thing for the 2015 and the 2014 question, because I'm hoping that you're seeing the similarities in terms of what these questions are asking. You may just want to pause it here and have a look at these questions and see that these questions, again, are very similar. Try and see the connections between all of these questions. Okay, so now that you've had a look at those exam questions, we're going to look at a sample essay, or at least some parts of a sample essay. Now, I need to give lots of credit to Miss Sullivan. There are parts of this essay which I've taken directly from one of her sample essays. Some of it has been created by me, but in terms of the structure, I've really gotten a great understanding from Miss Sullivan's awesome work on this unit, so big credit to her. And I want to look at the 2014 HSC question because I think it's one that we've really been focusing on in class in terms of experiencing other people's events and experiences. So the question that I'm going to be answering with my sample essay is, how do the qualities of distinctive images create interest and draw us into the experiences of others? Now, in this response, we have to refer to your prescribed text, which is Shoehorn Sonata, and one other related text, which in my case is going to be the Picture Book Memorial by Gary Crew and Sean Tan. Now, obviously, every essay has an introduction, body, and conclusion, but I'm going to break down each of these sections in a bit more detail towards the end. Okay, so here's a sample introduction for the question. I'll just get you to pause the video and read through the introduction. So now that you've read through the sample introduction, I want to show you the structure that I'm trying to achieve here. So you'll see first of all that there's a thesis statement which answers the question, or which links to the question, the key parts of the question. Next, I define an understanding of the distinctively visual elective. Now, this is different from the discovery essay, and the reason why we're including this in here is because we want to show the marker that we understand what we're aiming to do through the distinctively visual elective. So we can pre-prepare a sentence which shows our understanding of the distinctively visual elective and slot it into our introduction. After that, we're summarizing the key visuals in the prescribed and related text. Basically what I mean is we're trying to summarize, I guess, the plot and the key visual understandings that come from the text. And this again can be pre-prepared, but we may have to mold it to the question that we have. And then finally, because there's always going to be a connection to themes or ideas about the themes from the questions we get asked, we're going to outline the major themes / the idea statements that we're going to talk about in the essay and then connect them back to the thesis. So if we go back to the introduction, you'll see here, first of all, that I've got the thesis statement. After this, I've got my definition of the distinctively visual unit. After this, I've got my summary of the key visuals that are presented in the Shoehorn Sonata. Very brief, succinct summary. I don't go into a lot of detail, but this is, I guess, the main thing that happens within the text. I do the same thing for my related text. And then finally, I have the three key themes that I'm going to be discussing in the essay. And there is a relationship between the texts that I've got here. So you'll see that I've got theme number 1, which is relationships, theme 2, which is memory, and theme 2, which is reconciliation. And I'm restating my thesis here, with the main parts of my thesis. Okay, so that's the introduction for the essay task. And pre-preparing an essay is always good because you could adapt a lot of the parts of this essay to the question. But if we look at the body paragraph now, this is where we start to include textual evidence from Shoehorn Sonata, and we address a idea statement about one of the major experiences in the text. So here is the first paragraph where I'm talking about Shoehorn Sonata. Pause the video here and read through this paragraph. All right, So the structure of the body paragraph follows our normal peel structure, or T-peel, with our thesis. So first of all, we start off with an idea statement about the theme. So you guys have created idea statements in your set table, and you'll be able to slot them in depending on what you want to talk about. So in this case, I'm talking about the theme of memory and how they enable us to experience some prior events. After that, we've got our techniques, quotes, summaries, evidence of theme in text. So we're looking to blend together all that we understand about this theme of memory and how they enable us to experience some prior events. And then finally, we've got a link back to the thesis statement of the essay, where in this case, I'm talking about fostering empathy. So if we go back here, we've got the thesis statement, which is telling me about the theme I'm going to be talking about in the paragraph. So in this case, it's through memory. Here I've got my point sentence, which is all to do with how the play highlights the horrific and consistent beatings during their imprisonment. So all the evidence that I'm going to address after this is going to detail horrific and terrible experiences for Bridie and Sheila in the play. Here I have the evidence that I'm including. In bold, I've got the techniques that create visuals, but I'm going through and providing a summary of the events, how the techniques used, and then explaining. In this case here, I'm explaining how the visual connects to the thesis statement of the paragraph. And then finally, I'm connecting it back to my main essay thesis, which is all to do with how the memories create visuals that foster empathy, and they draw us into the experiences of others. So referring back to the key parts of the question up here. Exactly the same structure, and again, I'll just credit this is created completely from Miss Sullivan's work. So you can pause it here, read through, and aim to see how this follows exactly the same structure that I just outlined. Alright, so the final part of the essay is the conclusion. This conclusion doesn't need to be long. You could quickly put one together in one sentence if you were running out of time. I think the main thing to focus on is you've got 40 minutes in the exam to answer this question, and the conclusion is not as important as the evidence, the specific evidence that you're providing from the text. So even if it's just a one-sentence conclusion, that'll be fine. But if you've got the time to sum it all up into two sentences, you'll do it with the following structure. So you restate the major themes that were discussed in the essay, and then you'll restate the thesis statement again. So you'll see here that I talk about the major themes: friendship, memory, and reconciliation, that they move us to a deeper understanding of unfamiliar and unique situations. Here, situations is a synonym of experience of others. And then finally, using a text connective in summation, distinctive visuals through text foster empathy in responders by bringing the experience of others to life. This is basically word for word from my introduction, just because I wanted to quickly just restate the thesis there. Alrighty, so that is the essay task. Now for homework, you've been given this sample essay that I've got here. Now this essay isn't complete. It requires a few more body paragraphs to fill it out, and that's going to be your job for homework, to take my introduction and to create a few body paragraphs to slot into the essay and to create a complete essay. So you can refer back to this video to look at the structure of how you need to complete the essay. And so that is a sample of a distinctively visual essay, how to structure it, and what we need to include in the essay task.